everyone, and welcome to Club 3, episode 42 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we sit in the early stages of the season, 5 games in for Derby County. It's gone pretty well so far. I must say I'm reasonably happy with form, although we have had a couple of slightly drab goalless draws where one goal for us in any of those games would have really boosted our position in the league currently. So a little bit unfortunate there. But since the last time you and I were together for the Tottenham game, we've won a couple in the Premier League, we've drawn a couple in the Premier League, and we've gone through in the English League Cup against Swindon quite comfortably. So all in all, not too bad. A few goals for us here and there, and some really positive defensive stats. Lots of no goals against us in a lot of these games. It's really positive to see that the strength from last season still remains in terms of our defensive unit. But the new players are settling in well. Pauletta's got 3 goals in 4, which is really good start for him. Langer, our new right-sided winger, plays in rotation with Noel. He's got 4 assists so far in the games that he's played, so he's working really hard down that right-hand side. And generally, everybody's settling in and working pretty well together and beginning to understand how each other plays in terms of the new guys coming into the club. We don't talk about the finances because they're not very good at the moment, but we'll sort that out as we go, I'm sure. So that's the schedule. You can see where we've had our recent games. We've got Chelsea coming up today. But just before we do, we'll go into the tactics page and we'll check out Loku Doku. Now, Loku Doku's got a £44 million release clause in his contract. It's a contract I'm looking to renew with him fairly soon, now that we've gone past the global transfer window. That has now closed. We almost lost him. Barcelona came in with about a £42 million bid. He's got a £44 million release clause, and they didn't come back. And I kind of half expected that they would. I was really bracing myself for the thought that in the last couple of days of the transfer window, when we couldn't buy anybody in because ours had already closed, maybe they would come back in and cause us a problem. Fortunately, they didn't, and Loku Doku remains at the club, so that's good. And before January happens, we will be renewing his contract, I hope, and getting rid of that release clause, or at least bumping it right up so they have to pay really a big amount of money for him. So that's the only bit of transfer dealings that almost happened. There were several players in the summer that attracted some attention. The likes of Bazunu, the goalkeeper, was under a review by Man United, but that never really materialised either. So we managed to keep the squad together, which is good. We improved the squad, as you saw last episode, with the new players that we brought in. And we're just beginning to see signs that things are beginning to settle down and we'll do okay this season. So it's a real test today, though. If we go and have a look in the competition pages, you can see in the Premier League we've got Chelsea. They sit 4th currently on 11 points. We are sitting 10th on 8 points. So early stages of the season, a couple of points difference. We talked about the thought that this season we want to go a little bit more positive in terms of how we approach these games at home against the Big Six. And today is a perfect opportunity for that. We play Chelsea at home today. So we are going to go in with our controlled possession asymmetric style rather than defensive. We'll go defensive in the away games. But I just want to see how well we can compete with them. And I think that whatever happens against the Big Six are bonuses. We've got to win the games with the teams around us and below us more than that, really. So it gives a good opportunity to play without any pressure today and see what happens. So that being said, the only change that we've made in terms of the playing staff for today is that Ramsey, who hasn't been playing particularly well in this number 10 role, has come out the side today because he's just got a little bit of a fitness issue and I don't want to aggravate any further. So Martinez comes in. You can see that there's a couple of players on the bench and not even in the side that have got some very big average ratings. That's just because they played the Swindon Town game more than anything, where we won 4-0 in the cup. So it looks a little bit strange, but the number 1 side is still as it has been for a little while. It's just figuring out what to do when players go out of the side because of injuries and suspensions, etc. But so Martinez comes in today. That means that the side for today is Bazunu in goal, Bogle at right back, Target at left back, Romario and Harwood Bellis in central defence, with Joku, Vera and Martinez in central midfield, Noel on the right, Loku Doku on the left, and Pauletta up top, with a bench of Story, Cooper, Ivan, Silas, Langer, Guive and Monterese. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So I have used the team talk that we kind of suggested we would. I've suggested to them there's no pressure on you today. Nobody expects much from you. So go and play free from all that expectation and see how we get on. And just see whether we can free up the players to perform well against one of those big guys from the top 6 of the Premier League. And let's just see whether we can cause an upset maybe. All I want really is to continue to see that we can compete in this kind of context with the bigger sides and prove that we are making progress and moving forward. And so far, again, we've got the issue that our first half is a little bit dull. There's not a lot happening in terms of highlights. That happens quite a lot at the moment. But you can see in terms of match stats, we're doing what we set out to do, which is compete with Chelsea. And after the first half comes and goes with literally nothing to talk about. Always really good for content creation, that. We've got a reasonable position to work from, but absolutely no highlights to show. So what we're going to do for this half-time team talk after 30 seconds of the game. Oh, for goodness sake, it doesn't make easy content creation this at all sometimes, Football Manager. But there we go. What we're going to do about it, let's say... I don't think we're going to say anything. I'm going to think we're going to leave it exactly where it was and just let them continue with the thought that, you know, nobody's expecting much, but you can relax and play your natural game and see what happens. And it's a highlight, folks. This is what they call a highlight in Football Manager. Enjoy it. Who knows what will happen after this, but we get an opportunity to build up from the back, and we have done very nicely. Loku Doku on that left wing finally cuts in centrally a bit more, but then loses the ball, and Chelsea's midfield win it back, and then right into their defence they go to then build up from the back, and they get a chance to run at us down the right hand side. We've held our shape pretty well, but they have broken through that slightly to get to the top of the penalty box. Can they get a shot away? They've worked the space, and they do get a shot away, and it goes narrowly wide on that far post, inches wide, and we can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief on that one. But it was a little bit careless in that central midfield when Loku Doku bought it centrally. We got a little bit crowded rather than working around the outside, and that's where we lose the ball. Again, a highlight for us though. Working it through our central midfield with Joku into Vera and down to the left-hand side for Loku Doku. Can he cross the ball? He does to Pauletta, and Pauletta gets a good header on it, and we take a 1-0 lead after 58 minutes of the game. Really good. This has happened a couple of times in the early part of the season where Loku Doku has cut down that left-hand side and found Pauletta running across the near post and getting to the ball first before the defender. There's that little run by Pauletta, gets a good head on the ball and puts it into that far corner away from the goalkeeper, and we take a really good 1-0 lead. I'm very, very encouraged by that. This is what we were hoping for, that we would be able to compete properly with the big guys. So just go and have a look at the substitutions that we can make, just because we need to keep everybody fresh and motivated for the game. And again, it's this number 10 role. I'm contemplating for next season, or possibly January, we'll see, of taking this number 10 role out. But to do so, both Ramsey and Martinez play it and don't play much else, and we lose a lot of the rotation ability in our side if we didn't play it. So I'm thinking longer term that we might take the number 10 role out and put it more central midfield maybe, but we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment he's not doing it particularly well. So what options do we have? Well, Ramsey's not there. Silas can sort of play it, but what I'm going to do is take Martinez off and put Monterese on. Now, he's not a perfect option for that attacking midfield role. He is definitely a striker, but he's got a good long shot about him, and he's got enough about him, I think, to play that reasonably well for a limited amount of time. So we're going to do that. Noel's struggling down the right hand side a little bit with a few nerves today, so Langer comes back in. Langer, as we've seen already, has done very well when he's been called upon. And then we've got an issue at the back with a yellow card for Harwood Bellis, so we're going to take him out and put Story in just to secure that central defence up a little bit and not give the opportunity for red cards to show up and cause us a problem late in the game. But after 74 minutes, it's going reasonably well. Chelsea on the ball, though, so we can't count our chickens before they hatch. They're going to be dangerous right the way through to the final whistle. They get into the box, but good defensive work holds him up briefly, and then it's so frustrating. The shot comes in. It was a good block by the defender, but it just ricochets off him, rebounds, and falls directly to the feet of a Chelsea striker, and that's made the whole penalty box open up for him, and he gets to slot the ball home, and we go 1-1 all of a sudden, which is really disappointing. That it wasn't their class that did it, it was a bit of luck that did it, really, after a really good block on that first initial shot. That's football, though, I guess, at times. Again, Chelsea come at us, and the tide has turned, the momentum has turned. But we win the ball. Maybe the tide hasn't turned as much as I thought. Loku Doku on a chance for Monterese, and he puts it into that far corner of the goal. And just as I was thinking that Chelsea were going to attack us again and pile on the pressure, we steal the ball from them down that left-hand side. Loku Doku on a mazy run, half the length of the football pitch, cuts it right the way across to that far side of the penalty box, and from an acute angle, Monterese with a good long shot, remember, that's why I put him into that role, pile drives that ball into the far corner of the goal, and we go 2-1 up with about 5 minutes left, when you include the injury time. But it's us, Pauletta on the ball, on the edge of the box, Vera onto Langer, and a long shot from Monterese again. I am going to take this as a tactical masterclass. I put a striker in a non-striker role because I could see an attribute that he had that would help us out, and he's done it twice. Another really good long shot from Monterese, just on the edge of the box. Get it out from his feet, right-footed, and pile drives it into the corner of the goal, and the goalkeeper stood no chance. And today is a good day to be a football manager when you get things right like that. I will happily take it, and there's the final whistle. A 3-1 win at home against one of the top 6 sides in the division. Exactly what we were looking for at this stage of the season, showing that when we're on our game, when people play at their best, we can compete in this division, which is fantastic to see. So positively, we will go in and say that was really special. Nobody expected that from us. Congratulations on a good performance. That will boost the morale again. It gives us another opportunity to get more points on the board. The more points we get early in the season helps us later on when it becomes a little bit harder. We'll just go straight through these news items a little bit and then go and check out what that's done for our league position. Right up to 5th spot early in the season, not counting any chickens before they hatch. This is a good early start. You can see that the likes of United and Tottenham, who both replaced their managers in the summer, remember, are struggling in mid-table this season. So there is an opportunity for us to move up in the division if we can continue to be consistent. But today is a very, very good day, and I will happily take the kudos for that. I made a call and it worked out for me, and we get a 3-1 win over Chelsea. Fantastic. That's the sort of thing we like to see. So I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. I loved this episode. What we're going to come back for next episode, we're going to work our way through till, let's say, Leicester. At the end of October will be the next game that we come back for. So a couple of big games in between there. We've got Man United and Arsenal in the Premier League in the next couple of games. Also Birmingham, Burnley. So a couple of opportunities for some points and a couple more opportunities to test ourselves against the big guys. One at home, one away. So we'll see how we get on there. But join me for the Leicester game if you can. Until then, though, thanks for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Join my United City community. The more the merrier. If you enjoyed this episode, and I loved this episode, then click that like button and help me out get seen by lots of other people in the YouTube algorithms. But until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.